Hey, Elaine, what's something fun we can say up front?
Um, I-
We have nothing.
mm. There's nothing worse when somebody looks at you and says, "Be funny."
Do it. Be funny right
Be
now.
funny.
Come on.
I'm bad at funny most of the time anyway, but I'm especially bad at funny under pressure.
You are on the spot.
Yeah, we just left the burn, videoing the burn, so I have on a real shirt.
And I
a
have
t-shirt.
I have on a shirt you've seen me wear 85 times. I promise I have more clothes, but when we come down here,
we don't bring clothes.
We just bring,
I bought this shirt here.
Things. That's right. She bought her shirt here.
So
I'm not on camera, so I didn't buy anything.
Our friend Terrell invited us to his big fancy Christmas party at the burn.
And we were like, we can't come. We have no clothes.
I texted him and said, I can't come. I don't have anything to wear. And he said that we could come anyway.
And we did, and it was wonderful.
It was fantastic.
And then we went and videoed it today. So that's our Christmas present to you.
Yes, which you've probably seen already.
Because this comes out after.
Because this will come out after. So Merry Christmas to you then.
Happy New Year. Yeah. Welcome back to our Restoration Nation. Thanks for watching our little vlogs.
Yeah.
That's Lane, and I'm Kevin. And we restore houses.
Oh, that's Karen over there on her porch.
Oh.
We just came outside. We do. Yes, we do. And you're going to have to start saying to people, like, when they ask us what we do, you need to start, like, we were at the party the other night, and they were like, what do you do? And you were like, we video houses for sale. I was like, that's not what we do at all.
We do.
I mean, they do happen to be for sale, but we restore homes, and we have an architectural history education channel.
There you go. Yeah.
I was like,
they'd probably start quizzing me, though, and I would fail.
For sale? That's when you just look at me. I was really uncomfortable today. Well, I was really uncomfortable today when we went to the burn. For some reason, I love Terrell. He's super, like, the nicest person on the planet. But you know how every once in a while there are people who are just, like, suave. And so, well, for me anyway.
Suave. Yeah,
there are people who are suave. And so I have really bad social anxiety. So when I'm near somebody who's really suave, I turn into a blithering idiot. And when I turn into a blithering idiot, I start looking at you and smiling, like, say something.
Save me. And then
save me. And he just looks at me like, what do you want me to do? I don't know what you want me to do. So it was awkward. I'm so awkward.
No, it was fun.
I'm so awkward. And I can feel myself being awkward. And I want to say, I'm like, stop being awkward.
Well, I feel like in a situation like that, we sat down with Terrell. He started giving us all this great history. I feel like I need a notebook. Start writing it down. Like, okay, then what happened?
No, it was before that. That by then I was like, okay, I'm fine. There was a dog. The dog showed up. Babe. And when there's a dog, I can relax.
Which you'll see in the burn video 100 times.
Why was I so, like, uncomfortable and awkward?
I don't know.
I had a headache today. Maybe that was it.
I don't know. We're not talking at all about what we're here to talk about.
Look, if there are people here that are on Instagram too, they know that I'm going to prattle off on some wild tangent. I'm going to get on and say, this is what we're talking about. And then I'm going to go in a completely opposite direction. I'm still feeling bad about the awkward way I'm like, I'm old enough not to behave like an awkward moron in situations like that.
You never do. You're always.
Oh, I felt so awkward. It was bad.
You're crazy.
It was bad. I'm sorry, Terrell.
I'm not putting any of this in.
You have to. It's funny. When someone is like so suave and intimidating, just like they just have that natural ease, that debonair, just like charm.
Like me.
Yeah, exactly. Like you.
Not at all goofy. I'm just a goofy dumb guy.
No, you are goofy. But you're not dumb guy.
Goofy.
But you put on the suave debonair show for like the first, really until we got married.
Yeah.
Well, not quite until we got married. There were hints of it coming
come on,
through.
It lasted a week at best. I was cool Viking for a week, and then I was a dumb guy.
No, you were just goofy.
You're
goofy.
Anyway. We have one of the most exciting reveals since the bathroom in Melly, I'd say.
I think so too.
That was really exciting. We are giving you before after of the dining room in Pearl today.
Yes.
And we are so excited because it came out great.
Yeah, my mother actually said she likes it better than the bathroom in Melly, which how?
I don't know
but she does, which made me feel good because it was as much work as the bathroom in Melly.
It's hard.
I didn't fall through the floor, so that's slightly better.
No, the floors still have to be redone
Yeah, please. Yes, we should preface by saying
with every video.
The floors will all be done at one time when the project is complete. The last thing you want to do is do a room of floors and then walk your oil paint feet over the new floor, which I would absolutely do.
I'm not saying anything, but somebody is a spiller.
Well, the oil paint that we get here is very thin. Like, it's like water.
It doesn't matter what you spill. It's liquid.
Okay. Fine.
Oh, so you're saying it drips.
It drips. It's
Gotcha.
it's not like,
okay.
It's not,
but when you
like
knock a whole,
yeah.
you knock a whole cup
when
over,
kick a cup over,
it doesn't matter how thick or how thin it is. It's gonna run everywhere.
I am the queen of making more work for myself. Yeah. We'll just say
Let's talk about
all the things that were done.
The things that were done in this room.
I think we have to first off start by saying this room was wildly filthy. And that is not to cast aspersions on the previous owner. Remember, this house had been unoccupied for 12 years. So when a space sits for 12 years, dirt just accumulates. And I think the reason this room was so dirty is because it's where the return air is. I was thinking about that the other day.
That's true.
So all the air from the house is getting sucked into this room.
Mm-hmm.
And so the dust was unbelievable. 12 years of dust in one space.
So yeah, one of the first things you did was clean off the globes of the the globes of the light fixture.
So we have to tell the story about the light fixture. We bought the house for the light fixture. I think you probably know that. I walked into the dining room and I was like, I have to have this house because I have to have that light fixture. And then there was an estate sale, and we came the day before the estate sale and said, we will not buy this house if we come in here and that light fixture is gone.
The light fixture.
But I could tell it was really dirty. And so one of the first things, like before they even had the estate sale, I tried to clean it and I couldn't get it clean. And so when we finally took it down, I realized that there was 100 years worth of like furniture wax. They'd been cleaned with wax, and there was this horrible waxy buildup on it. It
had to be taken down and really rubbed.
Yeah. First thing I had to do was scrub that clean, which you've seen in a different video. But the story about the light fixture, when we met the owner, the last owner, we found out that his grandmother's home was on this street, but up the street. And it was built in 1914. And that was the light fixture from her dining room. So when they sold that house, they moved the light fixture to this dining room. So it's very important.
We wanted to make sure they didn't move it again.
So I planned the entire dining room around that light fixture.
And you had the blue in the hearth.
Yes, the blue
and then you had the green in the light fixture.
And two shades of green. So you have emerald green and then like a chartreuse green. So there were color challenges in this room. We initially had intended to replicate the 1930s wallpaper that we found behind the 1980s wallpaper.
Very flowery.
And
I worked hours on it trying to get it right and couldn't make it work.
I think I have no doubt that you could have gotten it to the point where it would work. But once we got it back where we kind of pulled the desaturated colors back up to what they would have been, I started looking at it and thinking, that is so much pattern. That is a lot. It was very busy. Very busy. And I like a busy wallpaper. Don't get me wrong. I love a bold wallpaper. But that one, I think it was a little too much. So we decided to go a different direction. Right. So then the hunt was on for the perfect wallpaper.
So you found the wallpaper. It sat in the box for a long time while we did some other work.
It wasn't that bad. It hasn't been here as long as some of the other things that are waiting. that are waiting, like the tile in the kitchen. Year, so
but let's see. So what else did we do? I started working on the wainscoting. Which actually we wondered whether it was wainscoting or wainscoting.
Because you hear it both ways.
You hear it both ways.
And in college, they teach it both ways. Kind of depending on where you are, north or south, wainscoting or wainscoting.
We thought it maybe was English and American, but the true pronunciation is wainscoting.
Wainscoting. So we're not going to adopt that.
Which is horrible. We don't like it at all.
We're not going to adopt that at all. But let's talk about. I know a lot of people.
So we're wainscoting.
We're wainscoting. I know a lot of people are going to be like, it didn't have wainscoting. Why are you putting it in there? Why is that appropriate? This is my philosophy. This is how I kind of reasoned through that decision. Okay. This home, from the day it was built, had wallpaper on every single wall. It had wallpaper on every single wall, including the ceilings. We have proof of that everywhere. None of the plaster was ever painted. It's always wallpapered. So this home was intended to have wall coverings everywhere, wall covering. But the dining room is large and there's a lot of wall space in there. And I was very afraid that if we did a wallpaper, floor to ceiling, it was going to be
a lot.
A lot, no matter what wallpaper we went with. So we decided to do 2 wall coverings. The wainscoting is designed so that it serves as a wall covering. It is a panel of wood. So the back of it is a wood panel. Do you use poplar?
Yes, poplar, quarter-inch poplar all the way around.
So wood that is nailed up, and then the strips are 3/4 inch pine.
Yeah,
like just a yellow pine. So it's a wall covering that should at any point somebody not want it there, move in, want to restore the house, truly restore it, they could take it off. It's not a permanent fixture, and it just serves to sort of break the space visually. So it's not like wallpaper. But we had some challenges with the wainscoting.
Wainscoting. Yes, we had 3/4 inch pine, and we have a 1/4 inch backer. So you've got an inch profile, and you need a ledge for that to sit on above and below. So your baseboards come and they end on the wall, and we needed that to come out 3/4 inch. So what we did was we got a little coved piece that starts basically where the baseboard ends, and it comes out 3/4 inch for that nice pine to sit on. So we've got a nice flush mount.
Don't want to lose the profile of your baseboards. You don't want to change your baseboards. They're original and they match all throughout the house. Then you had the challenge of the corner blocks.
We are working on some wainscoting here in the dining room, and that means we've got several different pieces that go on the wall. We've got our paneling that will go back here, 1/4 inch paneling, and then we've got stiles that will come down on both sides. And we have this decorative corner block that we're going to have to deal with. So what are we going to do? We are going to make a template using this nifty little thing. You've probably seen these before, but they are a lifesaver. You just push it up against the piece to get your profile. I have nifty little tools to get me a little jig cut there to fit that in.
And you did a great job.
Now you can still see it at least because I love those corner pieces, and we did our best.
So we do have a great dining room mystery. When we were working in the main bedroom and we took off the wallpaper, you could see in that, no, it was in the front bedroom. We took off the wallpaper. You could see there had been some sort of patch, doorway height and size patch in the wall. Then we came around to the dining room side. Same thing. In the corner, there is a doorway height and width patch crammed in the corner. And then
we noticed there's a different corner piece.
The only place in the house, there's a different corner block. So at some point, there was something in that corner.
There's also brick behind that wall there.
I just, was it originally where the hutch was and they moved it?
It's hard to say.
There's no reason there should ever have been a door there, but it's a mystery.
Maybe they moved a china cabinet. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Very strange. Very strange.
So the mystery goes unanswered.
We have no answer for you. It's just a mystery. Sometimes it's just a mystery and you don't get an answer. Sorry. There was so much prep that had to be done in that room.
Prep. That's the whole key to so much of this is prep. And prep is hard because you don't see results for so long.
And it's hard work. And we started with things like they had both wallpapered and painted over the glass in the hutch. So I had to take the wallpaper off the glass, the wallpaper and the paint. They painted over the transom again. Had to take the paint off the transom. Every piece of hardware in the room had been painted over, and the flathead screws to take them on and put them back off. Kevin's nemesis, the flathead screws. So we had to get that all off. Then I had to clean all the hardware. Then I had to polish all the hardware. Then we had to put all the hardware back on. And then it was the paint. For some reason, all of the rooms in the house had been painted with latex over oil.
Yeah, they've done that pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere. But for some reason, in the dining room, and again, I don't know, maybe if it's because of the temperature fluctuation in that room, with it being the air return.
Yeah, maybe.
The top this thin layer of latex that
Was
was on
not hanging.
everything was peeling like a bad sunburn, like a really bad sunburn. And we have never personally experienced this, but we had heard tale from our friends over at Master of Plaster. We were working on Louise together, and so the owner of Master of Plaster told us at one point we were working with some peeling paint. And he was like, "You need to get some peel stop, because what's going to happen is you're going to scrape all that loose paint. You're going to go to sleep. You're going to
You're
get up
gonna
the
think,
next morning.
good, it's
yeah,
done.
it's done. It's flat. There's no more loose paint. You're going to get up the next day and it's going to be peeling again." Well, we didn't have it on that project. And I was like, "No, that's not a problem." This project, I would scrape and scrape and scrape, and it would be smooth as a baby's bottom, smooth as a little newborn derriere. And the next day I would look at the same spot and it would be peeling like crazy. So we had to scrape down to
And sand and
and
scrape
scrape
and
and
sand.
sand and scrape and sand. On the baseboards, I scraped all the way down to a base layer of brown lead paint. That was the one layer between the shellac finish and the top coats of oil and latex paint. And then the window frames, we scraped all the way down to the wood. The doors, we scraped and sanded. I mean, it was
Scraped and sanded the doors. Yeah.
it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was weeks of work just to get it to where it could be repainted. I know a lot of you are going to ask, "Well, if you did all that, why didn't you just go ahead and stain it?"
No.
There is a chasm of distance between scrape it to paint it and scrape it to stain it. And that chasm is years long. If we were going to live here forever, okay, sure, maybe, possibly.
I
But
don't think it would have been worth it even.
I mean, truly, it would have been a year worth of work, probably, considering how long I had to work on the mantle, which we're going to get to in a minute. But because you have to get every tiny speck off, you have to get every dot of shellac off before you can start again, and that is a monumental undertaking.
You will go completely insane.
So we got it all scraped.
Well, you caulked and caulked and caulked. You didn't say that.
Yes. Oh, you know that.
Caulked and caulked and caulked and caulked.
And caulked and caulked. Because, over 120 years, wood is going to expand and contract, and you're going to get cracks. So we caulked and caulked and caulked, and then painted. I spent a 12-hour period painting it. And by goodness, I was going to get it done all in that one day, because there's nothing I hate more than going to bed with a half-finished project. I can't sleep. It drives me crazy. So I started and I painted from like 11:48 in the morning to 10:45 at night.
Oil-based paints, and so we had the great smell.
But it conditions the wood, and it's not going to come off. So we're good.
So the china cabinet is built in. You've got your doors there. You've got a little inset. What would you call that piece that comes out in the middle? A piece that comes out in the middle.
I have no idea.
And then you've got your trim that meets up with all the other trim. And Lane wanted to take it back. We actually talked about taking it back to bare wood early on, which after the mantle almost killed you, we were like, I don't know if I'm still doing that. But you decided
Kevin
to do
said,
that.
No, I said it looked weird. It was
Then
weird.
I was afraid, well, the doors against the white painted
Well, you were
trim.
just afraid it was going to look
I
weird.
was afraid of that.
What happened was I went to scrape the paint on the china cabinet, and it was scraping down to bare wood. I mean, it was just scraping down to bare wood. So I thought, if I'm going to scrape this down to bare wood and I'm going to get it into this condition, then by golly, I'm going to go ahead and stain this thing. I said, worst case scenario, I said, just let me do it. If we hate it, we can always paint it. It's not like,
or we could have stripped the trim around it. I mean, I guess probably wouldn't have, but
no, absolutely not.
And see what that looked like. But man, you brought that back. The wood is so beautiful. You put a gel stain on it, right?
Yes.
And
because I had to do a gel stain
to match.
The mantle is shellacked, but it's golden oak. The china cabinet is heart pine, which is kind of red. And you don't want two different wood colors, which then will be three because the floors will be a different color on the same wall in the same room. So I had to do a gel stain on the china cabinet to get it to match the tone of
it is
the mantle.
Beautiful. And I love it almost as much as the mantle.
Which is sacrilege, but I'm okay with that.
Which was it was a lot easier to do than the mantle.
It was an eighth,
but it's
a 16th, a 1/24th the work.
The murder mantle. You ready to talk about the murder mantle?
Let's talk about the murder mantle. we bought the house. The mantle was doing the same thing with the paint, cracking, peeling. And a lot of the areas it was cracking and peeling down to the shellac layer. So I thought, oh, getting the paint off of this is going to be easy. I'm in the dining room with this beautiful mantle, and this is the one that we've decided we're going to try to strip down to bare wood and refinish it because it's not missing any pieces. It doesn't appear to have any chunks out of it. So what I've done, a lot of people complain about the Smart Strip, which is the only stripping product I recommend. Because it's totally non-caustic. I can literally stick my hand in the bucket, leave it in there, pull it out, leave the Smart Strip on my hand. It does not burn at all. And you know how so many strippers, you get even a speck on you and it burns you to the bone. Smart Strip doesn't do that. But I get a lot of complaints from people about Smart Strip saying it just doesn't do its job. It doesn't work right. You've got to use it properly. So the first thing with Smart Strip is you have to put on a nice thick coat, about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch. You want a thick coat, a solid coat over the top. Then you want to wrap it in saran wrap. The thing that keeps Smart Strip active and working is being completely cut off from air. Then you don't want to get too impatient. Smart Strip will take up to like 8 layers of paint off, and it encapsulates lead paint. So once you start removing your paint, it's a completely safe product to work with. But a lot of people want to put their stripper on and they want to leave it there like 12 hours and come pull it off, and then they're mad when the stripper didn't take the paint all the way down to the finish. Well, this stripper I put up 48 hours ago. And now we're going to pull off the saran wrap and we're going to see what happens. You ready?
Ready.
Look at that. We're getting all the way down to wood. Yay! I'll be able to come in here and just get that right off.
Get the filthy muck off of it. It's going to be beautiful. It's hard to see how pretty on the camera though.
Oh, I can see how pretty it's going to be. And I bet our viewers can see how pretty it's going to be too. But look, it's gone right down to the stain. So we'll take a little bit of water and wash that off. That's another thing that's great about Smart Strip is it's pH neutral. So you don't have to worry about coming in later and using another product to get your pH correct back on your wood like you do with a lot of other strippers. You have to come in with like a citrus spray to get your pH back in the right spot. You don't have to do that with Smart Strip. Again, see how non-caustic this is? I'm literally using my finger and it's just wet. Getting right down to, and this is in the most detailed part of this mantle piece. That's why I wanted to show you that, because we're getting right down to the egg and dart and ionic roll. These beautiful ionic columns here at the top. So, I will clean this off. I'll give it a little scrub with some superfine, look at that, just superfine steel wool and a little bit of mineral spirits. And we will have our showpiece of a mantle back in this room. I'm so excited. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to do it or not. So seeing that it's going to be possible is thrilling.
Midway through the process.
Yeah, so I'm using a plastic scraper so it doesn't damage the wood, but I can really
Press
get in
into
there. And yes, it's a mess. But
look at this.
Is it worth it?
Look at that.
Well, even more than that, because that's composite. Look at this. This is where the real beauty is. This wood.
Like, this feels like the most exciting thing we've done all week.
I know, right?
Doesn't it? Look at that.
So now I'm just going over it with some acetone, which is just paint thinner, and super fine steel wool. And we've discovered that we have a tiger oak mantle piece. No big deal. NBD. Just a tiger oak mantle.
Yeah. Now imagine painting that.
And painting it like multiple times.
Well, the first time is the greatest sin, right?
Right. And I know this looks like a mess and it looks so hard.
I think
But
it looks
look,
beautiful. Look
I'm
at
going
that.
to tell you that I would, oh yeah, the wood's gorgeous, but I would rather do this all day, any day, than have to repaint, sand, caulk, and repaint. This is way less work than doing the other one that we're repainting.
Well, when you put the smart strip on, it does a lot of the work for you. Just
sure does.
put it on and let it sit.
Yep. I mean, it's sticky and it's gooky. Feels gross, but so worth it.
Lane, do we have any video of you working on this mantle at all?
You know, I've been working on this mantle for no less than 10 days and I got at least 2 more days to go. So if you don't have video of it by now, that's nobody's fault but your own. I do want you to see my fingers.
Let's see some fingers.
And I don't want to hear anything about gloves. I can't wear gloves because the denatured alcohol eats through the gloves. And I also can't get my fingers down in these little itty bitty details.
Pretty.
That I need to get them into to get this mantle stripped. So I'll be here. Desperate times call for desperate measures. We've pulled out the heat gun, which is fine because this is all just latex paint. There's 2 coats of latex paint and then shellac. So we're getting there for people who wanted an update on the mantle, but it is taking an eternity and it's so gunky and gooey and absolutely a nightmare. Don't paint your golden oak mantles, please. I calculated up 80 hours, 80 solid work hours.
And a contusion.
And a contusion.
So if you don't know the story, I'm 15 feet in the air working on something. Lane is down here with the mantle. We've been moving it around. It's heavy.
The reason it was outside is because I had done chemical stripper on it. And then I needed to take a heat gun to it because there were just tons of places the chemical stripper wasn't touching. The paint was not coming off.
Creases and
crevices and little, it was a nightmare. There's no way to describe the nightmare that this mantle was. And so we wanted to work with it outside because a lot of that's really smelly. And I had gotten it to the part, once you get all the paint, most of the paint off, then you scrub it with still wool and denatured alcohol over and over and over and over. And that gets those last little flecks of paint off and the last remnants of the old shellac either off or smoothed out. And so I was out here working with the mantle. It was standing up on the wall right there, and I needed to lay it down.
And instead of waiting on me to help, which we'd been moving it around together.
It wasn't that heavy. It wasn't a heaviness issue.
Well, you go to lay it down right, and then it slides.
Yeah, so I pivoted it around, and I had
got it like this.
Well, okay, and look, you guys are always screaming at me about wear gloves, and I'm like, look, the reason I don't wear gloves, there's several reasons I don't wear gloves, and this is one of them. I had on rubber gloves, which stick to anything you're handling. They kind of stick, and they have adhesion, right? They're made to grip. So I had my rubber gloves on, and I had the back of the mantle, and I had my hands up in this like crevice of the mantle. The legs that are out in front, that are the part that are lowering like this, slip. This part falls down, jerks me down. And because I have on the gloves, I can't release it quickly. And it pulled me the full weight of that mantle pulled me
First, you
down.
busted both knees,
I
right?
still have a huge bruise, and
And then I look down, and she is like
yeah.
headbutting the mantle, and I was like, if the paint won't come off, the paint won't come off. You don't have to headbutt the mantle. But man, yeah, it pulled her right into it, and she had
So I had
a
a
bump on her
cut
noggin.
right here. It was in my hairline, thankfully. I had a cut right there, and then I had this huge goose egg, black, and then a black knee. I still can't like put my knee down on something solid and put pressure on it. It hurts. So, and this was what, weeks ago at this point.
Yes.
Anyway, so it's the murder mantle. It legitimately tried to kill. So my head hit, this part of my head hit the mantle shelf, the part that sticks out like this, and my chin ended up like where the mirror was. So I did this. Like I could have broken my neck. Truly, I could have broken my neck. And,
I'm really glad
and
you
I
didn't.
fell, and my chin hit, and I heard my neck go, and I thought, well, I can still feel my feet, so I guess I didn't break my neck. All that to say,
getting really real. All that to say, she worked really hard on that mantle that tried to kill her.
Yes, and then I put it up, and then I put shellac on it, and this is what it looks like. And if anybody ever paints it again, I will return from the grave, and I will be the first paranormal homicide. That's all there is to that.
It's so beautiful. It makes the room, and the blue tile pops.
And then we hung wallpaper.
Number 1.
Uno.
It wasn't too bad. The wallpaper. What do you think?
Well, it was
some little tough cuts.
It was tricky.
It was easier because it was 6 feet instead of 11 feet.
That made it less
manageable,
less labor intensive, but it was more of a puzzle because of the way, normally you just have to plumb it, right? You have to get a plumb line and then you just go. You work off of your pattern, you go around the room. Well, the pattern doesn't meet up. So you have to do a plumb line and a level line, and like work all the way around the room with your level. We lined up bee butts.
That's what we used was the butt of the bee.
Bee butts. How are the bee butts? And because this house is 120 years old,
it's
the walls are
heights.
Wonky.
Yeah.
So you have to that's why we chose a part of the pattern that was not at the ceiling, right at the ceiling, that we knew that if the ceiling had a little bit of play, which it did, we could still keep that pattern level all the way around the room. What'd you do, Kevin?
Last cut.
Woohoo! You should see how weird the colors look in this because it's nighttime. But it has to be documented. The last cut. Da-da. But the thing that
I love the color though.
Yeah, the color's magnificent. And the moment that I wanted to sing and dance was when we got the wallpaper up and then we put the shades back on the chandelier, because the objective was to get a paper that tied all those colors, random greens and blues and whites and browns and everything all together. And the shades went up, and it was like, I love it when a plan comes together. And if you don't know what that quote's from, I don't think we can be friends. Do you not know where it's from?
I love it when a plan comes together. Is that 18?
18. See, that's why you.
And aren't the shades like flowers? Like
they're
lotus.
They're lotus blossoms.
So like a bee would pollinate those, maybe.
Yes, I'm sure.
There you go.
And it's a uranium glass.
It flies from
bee
to bee to bee.
A flower does not fly from bee to bee. To be. Again, if you don't know what that is, we really cannot be friends. Gathering.
Look it up.
He can. Anyway, my favorite movie ever.
So came together great. We got the transom hardware back up. And that room has got fewer items on the punch list than any other room.
Other than the floor, I don't think there's a punch list item.
Switches, electrical outlets.
But I mean, like, there's no more trim we have to come in and fix. There's no closet we have to finish out the inside of. There's no more caulking we have to do in there. It just needs, with the last day when we run through and do those last things we're going to do, it's going to get those things, and then it's done. I do have to clean the windows on the outside. Good. I tried to do that the other night. My mop was broken. I use a mop to wash the windows, and my mop broke.
As one does.
Well, yeah, who doesn't use a mop to wash their windows? Duh.
So we hope you like the look of this. We think it looks
I
gorgeous.
love it. I love it.
let us know what your favorite part of this dining room is. Is it the wallpaper? Is it the wainscoting?
It better be
Is
the
it the
mantle.
mantle? Is it the china cabinet? Because I told Lane I almost like that china cabinet as much as the mantle. It looks really good. Is it the light fixture? The light fixture is pretty
It's pretty
amazing. We
amazing.
didn't do anything to it other than
I
clean
cleaned
it.
it and I polished the brass.
So don't
I
vote for
forgot about that. I
that.
polished the brass.
Yeah, yeah. What else did we do in there that they could comment on?
That's it.
That's it. So tell us what your favorite was. And thanks for watching.
See you later.
Bye.